So we have a bit of a breaking news update for you coming from the world of the Asian Games, where earlier today we had seen a story being reported that there were three players of India's wushu team. Wushu, in case you're wondering, is a martial arts competition that were set to be taking place in they're set to be participating rather in the Asian Games, and unfortunately they were denied accreditation and they were unable to actually reach Hangzhou, which is where the Asian Games will be going on. And it's no coincidence that these three athletes were athletes from Arunachal Pradesh. And we know that there is a dispute or a border territory dispute of sorts that China have been engaging in with India when it comes to that particular state, which is, to be fair, fully Indian territory, but China doesn't recognize it as such, which is why in the past you've had controversies when it comes to, let's say, even staple visas being issued to athletes from Arunachal Pradesh and similar incidents. In fact, it was in the University Games as well, wherein Indian wushu athletes were unable to or did not participate because they were given staple visas. Staple visas, if you're wondering why that's a problem, it's because it must be stamped, and if you're stapling it, it's China's subtle way of undermining what is essentially Indian territory, saying that they do not recognize the sovereignty of that state as being part of the Indian state, which, to be fair, it is, but that's a debate for another time. The key part is that in the midst of let's say escalating tensions in this regard, because the three athletes who I shall name, they were in fact and by the way, there are three leading wushu athletes from India, from the state of Arunachal Pradesh. They were Neman Wangsu, there's Onilu Tega and Mepung Lamgu. All three were scheduled to fly out as part of the wushu contingent, which did feature 11 let's say players. But unfortunately what happened was that these three found that they were unable to, let's say, download the accreditation that was necessary, and they were on a connecting flight, so they had to fly from India, then to Hong Kong, then to Hangzhou. Once they reached Hong Kong, they found they were unable to get the accreditation and therefore would not actually be able to fly into Hangzhou. So due to this happening, they were not able to, let's say, make it to Hangzhou, and as a result, India's sports minister Anurag Thakur has in fact cancelled a visit. There's been a statement that's put out, and I'll just read it out to you. It's let's say it's a statement from the Ministry of External Affairs in the Government of India, and it says that in response to queries on some Indian sports people being denied entry into the 19th Asian Games, Mr. Arindam Bakshi is saying that it's mentioned very clearly that the Government of India has learned that authorities have, let's say, not given the necessary accreditation, and in the end it mentions that as a mark of our protest against the Chinese action, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting and Youth Affairs and Sports of India has cancelled his scheduled visit to China for the Games. The Government of India reserves the right to take suitable measures to safeguard our interests. It's one of those very unfortunate things where the world of politics and sports absolutely intertwining. Now, to be fair, if China believes what they want to, they are well within their rights, so that doesn't make it facts. But the simple, let's say, issue here is that it is an obvious, let's say, targeted action, because if they had to deny accred to anyone, or if they had to deny the necessary documents, then if they had to do, then it should have either been a blanket sort of a situation, or it should have been a situation whereby, let's say, it was either blanket or it was a nothing situation. Here in this particular instance, it's pretty clear and evident that there is a political agenda that is being put into play here, because the only people who were not given the necessary, let's say, paperwork happened to be from the state of Arunachal Pradesh, and that is no coincidence whatsoever. So I'd say it's an interesting thing and a good step, let's say, from the Indian government to not actually engage further or try and make sure to let it know that such actions are, let's say, not okay. Whether this leads to anything or whether this leads to, let's say, the athletes getting their papers on time, because again, the 11-member contingent, the rest of them would have already reached. It's just these three players who haven't quite been able to make it to Hangzhou yet, where the games are happening. Whether it helps in that, that's something that remains to be seen, but we'll keep you updated on the story as and when it happens. Thank you for joining us in this live update. If you liked it, please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tap that bell, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, right ahead, check out some other videos we've posted. For now, from my side, it's bye-bye.